There are many reasons why Dishonored was considered one of the best games of 2012, and if you are interested in knowing a little bit more, stick around for the review of this awesome game. Dishonored is a first-person stealth action video game that is developed by Arcane Studios and published by Bethesda Softworks. Now, the lead designers were involved in projects such as Deus Ex franchise and Dark Messiah Might and Magic, so the game was bound to be successful from the ground up. The world of Dishonored consists almost entirely of water, but there is also a Pandician continent, which is a giant landmass. Now, this game's tale takes place in Dunwall, the capital city of Bristol. The central hub to which our character continually returns between missions is known as the Hound Pits, which is showing as a drinking establishment. Harvey Smith describes Dishonored's aesthetic as retro-future industrial, one that combines influences from the 17th century England, modern Orwellian dystopia, and anachronistic technology. Victor Antonov, the visual design director, has said that the game possesses a Lovecraftian feel that draws some inspiration from Half-Life 2 at request of the production team. So what happened? How does our character come to be? After returning from a foreign voyage to seek aid with a deadly plague ravaging the city, Corvo Attano travels to the Tower of Dunwall and meets with the Empress. After delivering a message, they are attacked by teleporting assassins led by Doubt. They magically restrain Corvo, kill the Empress, and kidnap her daughter Emily. What a good day, right? Corvo was then falsely implicated in the Empress's death and his daughter kidnapping, and was sentenced to death by Hiram Burrows, a usurper and Lord Regent, and was ultimately imprisoned.
My dear Corvo, what a sad hand fate has dealt you. The beloved Empress dead, and everyone thinks you're the killer.
Driven by revenge, he escapes from his confinement 6 months later with the help of a startled group of loyalists and becomes an infamous assassin as he strives to avenge his and the Empress's fate. Dishonored features multiple endings, which are dependent on Corvo's actions throughout the course of the game. The main character of Dishonored whom the player controls is Corvo Attano, a legendary former bodyguard of Dunwall's Empress Jessamine Coldwin. And by the way, just out of curiosity, Corvo means crow in both Portuguese and Italian. Corvo has a strong bond with Emily, the Empress's daughter, and often interacts with her in a familiar and effective manner. For instance, Emily asks him to play hide and seek on his return to Dunwall, which Corvo can oblige, and he was apparently teaching her climbing and defensive techniques prior to the events of the game. Corvo becomes an infamous assassin after he is framed for the Empress's murder. He is skilled in stealth and combat, he is armed with unusual gadgets, and possesses great supernatural powers. The game designers chose Corvo to remain silent so that players could project themselves onto the character. Other characters are Admiral Havelock, a loyalist leader and an ally to Corvo. Piero Joplin, an inventor who builds Corvo's mask and supplies him with gadgets throughout the game. Callista Curnow, the caretaker for the Empress's daughter, young Lady Emily. Dowd, leader of the group of assassins known as the Whalers. Samuel, a commoner who ferries Corvo to and from his missions. The Overseer, Tanji Martin, and Slackjaw, a gang leader. There's also another really important and mysterious character in the game, called the Outsider. The Outsider offers help to Corvo in his quest. The Outsider is described as a mixture of God and the devil, who imprints his mark on Corvo and imbues him with magical abilities, and provides him with a mechanically altered human heart that tells Corvo secrets.
There's a strong drink made here. I tried it once, distilled from river crusts by the taste of it.
The Outsider also grants his mark and special abilities to other characters. Smith described the character as an unmoral figure who grants abilities but leaves the choice of how to use them up to the recipient. Now, what tools are there for Corvo to use to put his revenge to practice? Well, he has grenades, mines, pistol, sword, wrist bow, all of which can be upgradable, granted you have the money. There are coins spread out throughout the map and you can pick them as you move through the levels, or you can pick up valuable items that will automatically be converted to money. Once you do so, you also need blueprints. Blueprints are schematics that Corvo can give to Piero to alter the various technologies he encounters throughout Dunwall. Some of these upgrade Corvo's equipments and some produce new kinds of ammunition. Corvo also has supernatural abilities. that are acquired through the use of runes. Runes are decorated pieces of whalebone that are used to acquire and improve supernatural abilities. The more powerful the ability, the more runes it requires. Bone charms are mystical charms created from the bones of whales. Corvo Etano can discover these trinkets throughout Dunwall and change which he has equipped at will. So long as they are equipped, they provide a variety of enhancements such as improving the effects of elixirs, swimming speed, jumping agility, allowing Corvo to recuperate by drinking from faucets and strengthening his supernatural abilities. Now, depending on your gameplay type, on the way you like to play the game, you have a set of specific supernatural abilities that actually favor you on stealth, brutal assassination, or just being a silent killer, a silent knife in the dark. Now all of this can be upgraded again through the use of runes, and you will find those runes spread throughout the map. The most basic one is the blink ability, which teleports the character a few meters ahead of him, or can actually teleport him to a specific rooftop. It really helps to the versatility and freedom that this game offers to the player. Sometimes you can avoid pretty nasty situations just by blinking out of there. You also have others such as Dark Vision or Devouring Swarm, for example, which will summon a swarm of rats, really hungry rats, that will actually chew on living enemies. You also have other abilities such as Agility that grants you higher jumps and less damage from falls. You actually run faster, climb faster, swim faster. You also have Wind Blast, which basically blasts back groups of foes on a non-lethal way, and also breaks down doors and blasts bolts back at foes. And you can also bend time, so it's really sick. You can actually do things like, if you encounter an enemy and he's shooting at you, you stop time, you possess his body, you put his body in front of his own bullet, and then he kills himself. This is how crazy the game can be.
Kill him!
Now, how can you use all of this? What kind of gameplay does this game allows you to? Well, the basic thing is movement. Corvo has a wide range of mobility. He can lean, slide, sneak, sprint, jump, and swim. And excluding sliding and swimming, these abilities can be utilized as early as the prologue. Now, certain supernatural abilities further widen the scope of Corvo's movement. Agility, for instance, allows Corvo to double jump to reach greater heights. His movement is slowed by sneaking and holding bodies, although certain bone charms such as Swift, Shadow, and Undertaker can actually counteract this effect. Bone charms, again, can similarly augment Corvo's natural abilities, allowing him to swing his weapon faster and increasing his strength. Now, the final pillar of gameplay is stealth. When wishing to remain undetected, Corvo can enter stealth mode, crouching and moving slowly to reduce sound and visibility. This mode allows Corvo to move through the world without drawing attention, making sneak attacks easier to execute and allowing him to avoid confrontation altogether. Silent attacks can either be lethal or non-lethal. Examples of lethal sneak attacks include drop assassinations, wherein Corvo attacks an enemy from above, stabbing as he lands on them, slitting a target's throat, or stabbing them from behind. Non-lethal options are available in the form of sleep darts and sleep holds. Excluding wolfhounds, all enemies can be taken down with a sleeper hold. The effectiveness of sleep darts depends on the target, as some high-profile enemies such as Dowd and the Royal Interrogator are immune. While wolfhounds can be rendered unconscious with sleep darts, the effects are temporary. Once a target has been incapacitated, Corvo can then move and hide the body in order to keep it from being discovered. Care must be taken to avoid accidental killing unconscious victims, as they are more vulnerable to damage. Enemies cannot be woken by their comrades, but if their bodies are found, the discovering party will be on high alert. Actions that include stealth play include eavesdropping, peeking through keyholes, and the ability to blow out candle. Hiding in shadows renders Corvo all but invisible at a distance, but at close range, enemies will still notice him when he is directly in their line of sight. So after all of this, there's one word that comes to my mind: versatility. You can definitely do anything you want to. You want to go Rambo? You can be Rambo. You want to be a silent killer? You can be a silent killer. You want to be a ghost and no one will ever notice you? There's actually an achievement for that, to finish the game without ever killing anyone and no one ever noticing you. So basically, you play the way you want to, but know there will be consequences to your actions. There's this thing called chaos, and the chaos basically defines the amount of bad things that may or may not happen throughout the game. For example, if you are sloppy and if you kill enemies and leave them there, the rats will eventually feed on their bodies and the plague will just spread. And as the plague spreads, the more rats there will be, the more the plague will spread, the more infected people there will be, so the more enemies, and the more chaotic the gameplay becomes. The characters, the speeches, the way you interact with others, the way the world moves around you just becomes darker, and eventually you have a bad ending. But you can actually avoid that. You can take down enemies, sure, you're free to do so, but if you dispose of the bodies either by summoning the swarm of rats to chew on those bodies or simply turning them into ash, the chaos amount won't be as high. So that means that in the next mission you probably won't have as much enemies looking for you. But the thing is, you still get to decide whatever you want to do. So this game is a really versatile game and really rewards the player to be genuine and play it the way you want to. And that's the key thing about this game, versatility. You can actually do whatever you want to. And the thing is, take this game slowly, don't rush through it. There are letters, audio logs and books on which you can explore a little bit more of the lore and just immerse yourself in this awesome game. Speaking of immersion, the voice acting is incredibly good. The voice scripting is also really good. The AI is pretty good as well. So the way that all these elements combine together make for a superb experience. The verticality of the level design, the versatility, also the level detail, the characters, the fact that the characters throughout the game interact with each other and you can actually eavesdrop on their conversations and take valuable information for a specific mission. So all of this adds up for a really immersive experience, and this is the reason why Dishonored was definitely one of the best games of 2012, and it's definitely a must buy. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this game as much as I did, and thanks for watching. Take care. Cheers.